On June 5th, my happy butt drove to Best Buy around 10 p.m. to get in line for the Nintendo Switch 2. I wasn't in a rush to get in line since I had mine pre-ordered online, so there's no footage. Also, I feel weird randomly filming in public. But since the strike of midnight, I've been a proud owner of a Switch 2, and it's been about a month, and I've been pretty inactive on YouTube for 4 months, and for reasons I stated in the previous video. But because of this, I wanted to make a video talking about my experience with the Nintendo Switch 2 in the first month of owning it. Listen, at first I was going to hold off on getting the Nintendo Switch 2 until Pokemon Legends DA came out, since I was in the last few months of working on my masters when pre-orders were announced, but honestly I was worried that tariffs were being thrown around were going to make the system more expensive than it already was. Let's start with talking about the price. Now, like most people, I got the bundle with Mario Kart World for $500. I have no problem getting Mario Kart as a digital copy because I feel like Mario Kart is one of those games you always want to have with your system. I also got the digital version of 8 Deluxe for that same reason on my Nintendo Switch 1. Honestly, I'm okay with the price. I did expect it to cost $400, but with how many they sold of the Switch 1, they were bound to squeeze some more money out of us. The portability and the backwards compatibility with the Switch 1 catalog makes this seem like an upgrade to the original Switch. Some people have an issue with that, but I'm a creature of habit, so this doesn't bother me so much because I don't have too many gripes with the original Switch. The gripes I did have, like the kickstand, were improved on in the OLED and refined a little more with the Switch 2. Speaking of the build and the design, the Switch 2 has that familiar comfort of a system that I've been using for years with some new perks added. I've been using the Nintendo Switch OLED since early 2022, and my preferred Joy-Cons are the Hori Split Pad Compacts. With the OLED, with the split pads on, the length of the OLED is honestly almost the same as the Switch 2, and the larger Joy-Cons and the larger screen size are a welcomed addition. At first, when using the Switch 2, it felt huge, but after some time, you get adjusted. I know the screen has been a hot topic with LCD versus OLED and the refresh rates, but honestly, I don't care. As long as it looks good while I'm playing it, it doesn't have any visible defects like screen bleeding, and it doesn't give me a headache, I'm happy. I've never been a pixel snob about screens before unless they are truly terrible, and I don't feel like starting now. The Joy-Cons feel decent in hand. The larger size makes handheld a little bit more comfortable, although this comfort is offset by the additional weight of the Switch 2 versus the OLED. I wasn't happy about hearing the thumbsticks are similar to the Switch 1's thumbsticks, and drift is definitely on my mind. I recently had to repair a pair of Joy-Cons that my son uses because they started drifting. I usually try to play docked with a full-size controller, so once Hori gets the split pad controllers for the Switch 2, I'll worry a little bit less about the drift. I really haven't played with the mouse features too much with the Switch 2, but I'm happy this was the Switch 2's gimmick because it's something that I've seen in handheld PCs before, so this is something that developers outside of Nintendo might actually implement, unlike the motion controls, the IR sensors from the Switch 1. That wasn't used outside of Nintendo besides a few small things here and there. This is something I'm excited to try with games like Drag X Drive when that comes out, or a third-party game like Cyberpunk if I ever decide to pick that up. The magnet attachment feels nice, although it's really hard not to fiddle with the eject button while holding the system. I'm concerned that the magnets on the console will get weak over time, but we'll have to wait to see if that actually happens. The kickstand being a full bar design similar to the OLED is great, but with it not being a full back panel like the OLED, it makes me worry that it's going to break someday. The only nitpick I have to say is that the black Joy-Con matte finish makes fingerprints really noticeable, something that having white Joy-Cons with the OLED or having colors with the original Joy-Cons had a better job hiding. I also wanted to know how they were planning to do different color Joy-Cons, because the blue and red on the thumbsticks and on the sides hopefully don't stay there on different colored themes. Also, the red and blue on the inside of the Switch might bug me if I get different colored Joy-Cons, but that's just me being picky. Now, on how the system looks on the inside, it's really the same. They added rounded corners to the OS and little tweaks here and there to make the system just feel different enough from the same OS setup that is on those line of Switch 1 devices now with the newest update. I'm not surprised the OSs are the same. I think this helps the appeal of natural progression from the Switch 1. Plus, it makes it easier for kids to adjust since there are barely any changes. The store getting a revamp is pretty nice. I'm barely ever there though, and you still only get the black and white themes, which I'm okay with as long as you're not using the white theme. Dark theme everything when possible. I don't want that bright screen blinding me in the middle of the night.
Oh, God.
Side tangent here, but why are you so adamant for themes? I get you want the Switch to feel like yours and have some personality, but how often are you sitting on the home screen? I'm usually jumping into whatever I want to play, so I just don't get the need for custom themes. Actually, when I unlocked my Switch, it went right back to Pokemon Violet. It looks cool. Maybe the addition of some colors would be nice, but I can see Nintendo not wanting to open Pandora's box on getting new themes at all. I don't get it. I don't spend enough time on the home screen to care, I guess. Just go play your games. The additional storage size felt necessary, like stupidly necessary. And the switch to microSD Express isn't too big of a deal for me because I ordered mine as soon as they confirmed it. I got the 256GB one, but I will say I will probably upgrade as soon as larger cards become more widely available and cheaper. Other than that, I haven't really noticed anything too bad to complain about. Like I said, I'm not picky on visuals. You really can't be when you're a Pokemon fan, but once again, it feels like a natural progression from the Switch 1. Speaking of Pokemon, let's talk about games. There isn't really much to talk about since the only Switch 2 game I've picked up is Mario Kart World, which feels great, looks nice, and it's a new Mario Kart for the first time in a while. I'm enjoying it. I wish they changed the character selection to pick a character, then an outfit for that character, without having them all in one menu. I think that's overwhelming. I do think they underdelivered with the transition between tracks since it limits how much of the next track you actually play in races. We're seeing a big complaint of this online. And the outfits are cool, and having 24 racers is chaotic fun, but can feel like a cluster in the middle of the pack, which you might find that exciting, you might not. It all depends on what mood you're in, really. The open world feels very mid to me though. Very empty and feels like filler, with the collectathon of P-switches and coins just not being enough to make me want to explore for more than 20 minutes. I'd rather just race on the tracks than explore the open world. The majority of time I've spent with the Switch 2 outside of Mario Kart World is Pokemon Violet. With the free upgrade, this game finally feels like how it should have felt almost 3 years ago. Terra raids actually keep up with the turn system, the increase of Pokemon, and the overworld makes the world feel more alive, and the improvements in frame rates is a welcomed addition. I'm a little upset that we've been playing the game without this for so long and they still need to be criticized for that, but I am happy we did get some improvements. The game still has its flaws, weird camera angles and terror raids among other things, so like bugs and whatnot, but I'm happy we saw some improvements even if they did only come with the purchase of a new $500 system. At first, the change in frame rate actually made me feel weird to play, It was a little jarring since my eyes were so used to watching the game play in a choppy 30 frames per second, but you adjust to it after a couple of play sessions, and the smoother frame rate is a welcomed addition. Also with Violet specifically, movement on Miraidon feels so much better now, and as someone who plays mostly Pokemon Violet, that is a big up for me. Now let's talk about things outside of the Switch 2, the accessories. And we've already discussed the micro SD Express card, and other than that, the only thing I got was a carrying case that came with a screen protector. There isn't much excitement with accessories like there was with the Switch 1, and that's probably because since this isn't a new form factor anymore, we kind of know what third-party accessories are trash just by looking at them. I thought about getting a new Pro controller, and honestly, I have enough controllers with most of them working perfectly fine on the Switch 2 that I couldn't justify the $80 price tag of a new controller. I'm still using the PowerA Fusion Pro as my main controller, and I'm still happy with it. I'm not going to lie though, trying the Switch 2 Pro controller in Target almost had me. It does feel good, but I think about the Nintendo One Pro controller, the Pro Fusion, the SN30 Pro, the Ghoulie Kit controller, the split pad dock attachment at home, and I couldn't justify the additional $85 to add another controller to that pile. I don't feel like I need a camera for the Switch 2. I don't have friends to play with, and we would probably just use Discord if that was the case. The only downside to accessories with the new system is the dock, and that's solely because I only have one. Over the years of having multiple systems in the Switch 1 family, I ended up with 4 docks. I have one connected to my capture card, one for the game room TV, one for the living room TV, and one in my travel bag to destroy kids in Mario Kart at school. Only having one dock is a big adjustment for me, and it's going to be a pain in the butt when I plan on streaming again because I'm going to have to move it away from the game room TV. An additional dock is going to be the first thing I buy accessory wise. But that's really all my takeaway is from having a Switch 2 for a month. So far I'm enjoying it, but I haven't really ventured out from my usual gaming experience, mostly due to time. But I'm excited for the Donkey Kong Bonanza and the Pokemon Legends ZA game. But what do you think? Is there anything I missed? Leave me questions in the comments down below. If you plan on picking up a Switch 2, I would say try before November because these things are going to be even harder once the holiday season starts. I'll have links to anything I talked about in this video in the description. They're Amazon affiliate links, so using them helps me out a ton. What games are you excited for? Are you mad about my opinion on themes? Do you have any issues with the Switch 2? Let me know all this down in the comments down below. And if you enjoy Pokemon and Nintendo Switch 2 content, feel free to subscribe. Until then, I'm Zach, and well, I'll see you later.